There are 5 very toxic strategies that the narcissist uses to silence you. If you're new here, my name is Michelle Pava. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, and I think that healing should feel like a celebration. So let's get to it. First of all, before we even begin, let's talk about what these strategies are actually called. They're called gaslighting. Gaslight is a term from the 1930s. It was actually from a play, and the play was about a man who drove his wife absolutely crazy by making her think that she wasn't in reality. That term stuck, it fit very well, and today we call it gaslighting. Gaslighting feels like a conversation, but really what it is it's a strategy meant to erode your character, and there's a lot of word salad, crazy making, and just a lot of things that don't make sense and make you feel like after you've had the conversation or even the debate argument, even if you started it and you wanted to have a relationship discussion, at the end of it, you just feel worse. You feel deflated and you feel like maybe the problem is you. That's what gaslighting is. Don't believe it. So let's get into the 5 most common strategies that a narcissist uses to get their way and to try to make you feel like you are worthless and that you are crazy. But before we begin to do that, let's look at what you might be feeling when you are being gaslit. During the conversation and after, it's a long-term chronic feeling that you have. You might have increased anxiety, a sense of hopelessness, mental confusion, very, very low self-worth, and a feeling maybe even of self-harm. Don't think that all self-harm is cutting. Self-harm can also be overeating or not eating enough, over-exercising or not exercising at all. Any behavior that is self-sabotaging to your optimal health. This could have come in childhood, and you could be just repeating the pattern with your partner. If you stay with someone who is gaslighting you, it eventually will deplete you and it will make you feel like you are just exhausted. And you won't notice what's happening. So what's going to happen is you're just going to feel like you don't have the energy to work out or that you just want to eat something sugary or salty. You won't notice that it's actually the gaslighting that's creating a lot of these responses. And it's not your fault. And this is why I want you to know the most common 5 strategies that the narcissist uses. So let's go to number 1. When the narcissist says that you need help, that you need a therapist, that you need someone to talk to, the translation of that is,
I'm not responsible for anything that I'm doing to you. I'm going to keep abusing you, but I'm going to make you feel like it's all in your head.
The translation is also,
I'm not the problem. We're not the problem. You're the problem.
Ultimately, the translation is, I know there's problems, I know there's situations, I know I'm causing them, but I'm not going to take any responsibility for them. Really? Now, this is not to be confused with someone that you're having a relationship discussion with, or that you are truly saying, I feel like there's a problem, that I need help, and they're supporting you into going to therapy. This is where the person is actually saying that they have no fault in any situation and you are in fact the problem, that you are in fact in some way very flawed and they take no responsibility. Here's another one.
You're too sensitive. You're overreacting. You're so emotional.
Right, ladies? Have you heard that before? Oh, wait, how about this one?
Oh, is it that time of the month?
So you probably even believe that you're moodier during PMS or during menopause or perimenopause. You probably believe this. It probably never occurred to you that your estrogen might be a little lower, and estrogen is what makes you see the world with like animated bluebirds, and maybe that you're just during that time frame a little bit more testosterone heavy and not willing to take the crap. The translation of you're too sensitive is actually,
I'm insensitive, and I don't care that I hurt you.
I don't care about you because I'm only caring about my feelings. I don't care about your emotions unless they're in the context of how they're going to help me.
Yeah, that's what that's all about. Here's another one. This one is a classic. When they say,
I was just joking. You don't have a sense of humor. You're too sensitive. You just don't get it. Lighten up.
Yeah, okay, do you want to know the translation of that? Okay, listen. You are not someone that has some lack of a sense of humor, okay? You're not in some way missing the boat on their wit. Here's the translation of that one.
I'm an abuser, and what I like to do is abuse you with a big smile on my face so you don't recognize that I'm abusing you. I like to call you names, I like to put you down, I like to belittle you because the more you feel bad about yourself, the more power I have.
I like to put you down because it makes me feel like a big man.
And I can control you when you feel bad about yourself. I will even make jokes about you in front of people. And I'm going to make your self-esteem so low that when I make little tiny jokes in front of people, you're going to look very defensive, and I'm going to look like the king, and you are going to look weak. And I'm going to look like I'm taking care of you, because I'm such a funny, fun guy.
Now, first of all, guys, when you're listening to this, I know that you're going to be feeling like, hey, wait a minute. Women do this too. Why are you pointing the finger at men only? And it's really just because I have more of a female audience, but women can do this too. This one is super interesting. This one makes them look like they are taking care of you. So you might get a little bit of a mind wrap on this one. And this one is a real common one where you can develop a trauma bond. And we'll talk about that in another video. And I'll link it below. When they say,
"You're just being insecure. I'm fine. I don't know what you have to worry about. Don't you trust me? Why don't you trust me? Is it from your childhood?"
And they start just making you feel like, why don't you trust them? You can't put your finger on what it is sometimes. Sometimes it's obvious, but sometimes you just can't put your finger on why you can't trust them. And they love to make you feel like you're walking on eggshells. They will do very inappropriate things. For instance, if you're out somewhere and a waitress treats you horribly, forgets your meal or whatever, they might even give that waitress a really big tip, and it will make you feel a little less than. Like, you'll be wondering, why would they not even bring something up to the waitress? Why would they give that waitress a really big tip? Why would that happen? And I'm bringing this up because this actually did happen to me, and that was one of the first times that I realized I was dating someone who was an absolute narcissist who was gaslighting. I totally understood in that moment when I brought it up to him, when he was denying it, that it was something that was meant to make me feel less than. And the minute that you understand that that person is trying to make you feel less than, you know that you actually are holding the power. So the translation of that is,
I want to plant the seeds of doubt. I will be inappropriate. I might do very grandiose things like escape somewhere with some other woman, or I might do very mild, small things like overtip a waitress that has treated you poorly. I will flirt. I will assume that women looking at me want me, and I will talk about that. I will cross boundaries. I will do lots of behaviors to make you feel like I'm a gift from God. But I'm only doing it because I'm insecure, and I want you to feel bad about yourself, so I will plant these seeds of deception and doubt so that you are walking on eggshells.
so ladies, let me tell you right now, if that starts happening, you don't have to walk on eggshells. They're insecure, they need to pump up their ego, get away from that relationship. If there's someone who is doing this in a grandiose way, in a very toxic way, if they are on the strong end of narcissism, get away from them. You don't need that. They have this strong need to feel desirable because they don't feel desirable. They need to make themselves feel desirable. And their way of doing that is to make you feel like they are desirable by somehow etching away at how you feel about them. It doesn't make sense at all, because you're never going to be more attracted to someone who's flirting with someone else. Ever. And if you bring it up, they're going to act like you are interrogating them. Or they will say that they feel like a 15-year-old. And you are interrogating them because they never actually resolve anything. And if they feel like a 15-year-old, it's probably where their emotional maturity is. Or why would they even think that? Ladies, you don't need that. Trust me when I say there are plenty of great men out there. You don't need that.
And lastly, this builds with a lot of what I just said. They will say things like,
you don't let anything go. And you're going to feel like, do I let things go? I am bringing this up a lot. And you're going to start questioning yourself. Now, with everything that I brought up, you're going to sometimes question yourself if you stay with this person. So for instance, if they're saying that you need help and then you are truly feeling very uncomfortable, you might start to think, yeah, I need help. Maybe it's not him. Maybe it's me. If they say that you're too sensitive, or it's your PMS, or it's whatever, you're too emotional, you're going to start to feel like, you know what, maybe it is. Maybe I just need to calm down. Maybe he's right because I am crying and I am getting upset. Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe it is PMS. Maybe it's not him at all. And when he says things like, I was just joking, you're going to start to feel like, maybe I can't take a joke. Maybe I am being too sensitive and I don't see that he's just funny. Maybe I'm just too insecure and I just don't get it. Maybe I need to lighten up. And when he's planting those seeds of doubt and he's trying to make himself look desirable, you're going to start thinking, maybe I am overreacting. Maybe it's not a big deal that he's doing all these things. After all, he's with me, right? So these are all ways that you start to justify the gaslighting, and this is where the trauma bond happens. And again, that's a different video and I have it linked below. But the last thing, and this really builds up to a lot of it, is when he says,
you can't let anything go.
Or,
here we go again.
Or whatever. Anytime you want to bring something up to resolve a problem, like a normal person, so that you can have a happy relationship, you're not getting yet that you're with a narcissist or with someone toxic or malignant or just emotionally immature who can't really have a discussion with you and solve something and move forward in the relationship. They don't want to move forward in the relationship. So by saying you can't let anything go, it's taking away all responsibility on their part to actually do something about the situation. Do you see what I'm saying here? Bellezzas, you don't need that.
Here we go again.
And here's the translation of that.
I don't want you to have closure, because if you have closure, that means you're healing and you're becoming more empowered and more secure in this relationship. And I need you to walk on eggshells so that you really don't know if I love you or if I don't love you, because the more I keep you clinging and hanging on to me, the more desirable and empowered I feel. I want the upper hand. And every time I feel like you're going to leave me or that I'm not going to get the energy that I want from you, if you start to do things on your own and start ignoring me, I'm just going to start love bombing you. I'm going to put you up on that pedestal because, God, it is so fun to knock you off of it. And then when you cry and when you're upset or when you're angry after you've been knocked off of that pedestal and you want to talk to me about it, I'm just going to say, you won't let anything go.
So the more he says, you won't let anything go, it's really him not addressing anything that you're bringing up. Or you wouldn't be bringing it up, right? Don't let him make you feel like you're going crazy. He's the one that's a little touched. You know what I'm saying? It's not you. You don't need this. Now, I know I touched on trauma bonding and I told you I have another video, but I want to tell you a little bit about it right now. Trauma bonding is a relationship that is mostly built on promises. It's not actually a relationship that's built on love and trust and building and going forward. A trauma bond feels like a roller coaster relationship, and the person who's creating the roller coaster might actually attack you and say, you know what, you're like a roller coaster. And they'll still use all of these gaslighting techniques. But the bottom line is a trauma bond is where you're hanging on to the hope of what you think could be, or you're getting glimpses of it through the love bombing. But it's not really a healthy relationship. It's a trauma relationship and it's a trauma bond. Please comment below if you have anything to add, subscribe and ring the bell so that we can stay connected.